This is going to be the last basic magic 101 lesson. Once again, we're in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We're going to talk about gods and goddesses and how to use them in your spell work. A lot of people are refraining from using god and goddesses because they're entities, they're archetypes on their own. Sometimes they bring the energy that you want for your spell work. Other times they reveal a more negative aspect of themselves. And this brings me back to a lesson I received recently from a friend who's an advanced Santero in New York City. And the Santeria tradition, the Orishas, the gods, we're going to use the basic terms, both have a positive aspect and a negative aspect. So if you're working with a deity mainly, they're going to have a really good side and a really bad side. And you can channel either side depending on the type of spell work you're doing. If you're doing a return to sender, for instance, it's not quite black magic, you're not wishing harm on anyone, but it's still not quite white magic. So a return to sender type of spell work will use more negative aspects of the deity. You're going to use deities that are involved with justice and karma. If you're trying to bring peace and love in the world, you're going to use the positive aspects of the deity. So the best thing you can do is to become knowledgeable. If you decide to work with the Greco-Roman pantheon, you have to remember that a lot of the Greco-Roman deities, even at the Greek times, not necessarily the Roman times, they existed from the convergence of different deities. So it's two different gods with two different meanings and roles becoming one, or divergence, meaning one god diverging into two different entities. You have to be aware of this historical changes to the figure, because the figure may mean something for you, but it was something totally different for the Greeks. And if you have Greek ancestry and you're calling your ancestors in, when you're doing that type of work, you're gonna have conflicting energy working with you. So you have to be very careful if you're using the deity name in spell work. Make sure that you research what the deity stands for. Become really familiar with the mythology. Become really familiar with the history. Same goes for Norse, Celtic. A lot of the European pantheons, they're actually the same. They came together from the Indo-European tradition. So some deities have the same meaning across different cultures. The god Thor has a lot of correspondences with Indra from the Hindu tradition. Thor has a lot of correspondences also with Jupiter and Zeus from the Greco-Roman tradition. But at the same time, Jupiter and Zeus have a lot in common with Odin, because they're the main god, the Deus Pater, the god of the sky. So these historical differences are the reason why I asked you to be very careful. If you're worshipping Thor in the Germanic tradition, Thor is a god of thunder, is a god that's really familiar with humans, it protects humankind, but at the same time, although some of those characteristics are similar to Jupiter and Zeus, Jupiter and Zeus have a different role of pretty much king of the god that Thor doesn't have, that belongs more to Odin, which is considered the All-Father. Odin has a lot of correspondences with Mercury, but Mercury doesn't have this predominant role in the Greco-Roman tradition. So be aware of these conflicts, these differences between different religions, because once you're putting them into your spell work, you may want to connect with one aspect of a deity and solely that aspect of the deity, and not everything else the deity stands for. So if you're a beginner practitioner, I suggest instead of working with the deities themselves, work with the archetypes. An archetype is an idea. If you look at the Platonic tradition, whenever the word came to be, whenever God performed its emanation, we started seeing aspects of the deity. An aspect that was more related to love, an aspect that was more related to life, an aspect that was more related to death, one to destruction, war. So instead of connecting with specific deity, if you're unsure, you can actually connect with the archetype, with that idea. You don't have to call them by name. You can call them a spirit of love. Please assist me into this love spell. Spirit of peace, please assist me into this spell work related to peace, bringing peace into my life, bringing peace into somebody else's life. So don't look at the knowledge that's out there in a way that puts you in a very strict paradigm. You can expand your mind. You don't have to work with a specific deity when you're doing spell work. It's good to get your knowledge from different books on correspondences. There's a lot out there. Some are entire encyclopedia that will tell you this is the day that you're going to do this type of work. These are the deities you're going to call in. These are the angels you're going to call in. Particularly in Wicca, they take in from a lot of traditions and then they put it all together, because some people like more the Greco-Roman pantheon, some people like more the Norse pantheon. So this book of correspondences will tell you in the Norse pantheon, these are the deities that you're going to work with. But in the Greco-Roman pantheon, these are the deities that you're going to work with. In the future, I will be reviewing different books. And once again, I have no connection to the authors of these books. I would just review books that for me are good at explaining correspondences and things like that, and pretty much talk about it in my channel. Thank you for listening and have a good day.